Let's dive into something pretty fascinating, shall we? The archetypal mind. We're exploring the law of one today, and specifically how this mysterious mind evolves, across these different densities of existence they talk about.
It's a really big concept.
It is, and we're going to unpack some wild ideas along the way, like what about this veil of forgetting? What's that all about? And how does choice play into our spiritual evolution?
Buckle up, because understanding the archetypal mind, it's like getting a backstage pass to, well, to ourselves and the universe, really.
I'm ready. I'm so ready. So let's start with the basics, I guess. The law of one throws around these terms, sub-logos and logos. Can you break those down for us? What are they?
Okay, imagine it like a cosmic family tree.
Okay.
The logos is like the grandparent of creation, the ultimate source, the architect of everything. And sub-logo, like our solar system, are like the kids. Each one's a little different, a unique expression of the logos with its own blueprint.
So our solar system is like a mini creation within a much bigger one. I like that. But it gets even more complex, right? Because not every planet within a sub-logos evolves at the same speed.
Right. Think of it as different grades in school.
Ooh, I like that. Okay.
Some planets are just starting out, learning their ABCs.
Kindergarten.
Exactly. While others are practically getting their PhDs, it's not a race. It's all part of the same grand journey. And before this third density thing, the one we humans are in,
Right.
entities, they existed, but their evolution was totally different.
Really? How so? What made it unique?
It seems like they didn't have the same drive toward the infinite that we experience in the third density. It was more about pure instinct, just existing, surviving, and being aware.
So third density rolls around and boom, something big shifts. Enter the veil of forgetting.
Yeah, that veil, it changes the game completely.
How? What does it do?
It's like it separates our conscious mind from our unconscious, you see. Creates this kind of cosmic amnesia. We forget who we truly are.
Wow. So that's why it feels like we're kind of stumbling around in the dark sometimes.
In a way, yes. This separation, it's actually crucial for our growth, though. It forces us to learn by doing, to make choices, to figure things out for ourselves.
Okay, so we're dropped into this world with no memory of where we came from. So how does the archetypal mind help us navigate this new reality?
Imagine archetypes as like these universal patterns. Energy and information that exists beyond the veil, waiting for us to tap into them. They act as our guide, helping us understand this world, make sense of our experiences.
So even though we've forgotten everything, these archetypes are like a roadmap, pointing us in the right direction. That's pretty cool.
It is pretty cool. And then you add in this whole concept from the Law of One about the veil pushing us toward either service to self or service to others. That's a huge decision,
It's like this cosmic crossroads we have to navigate. But what about those who don't really make a choice? What happens to them?
Think of it like a graduation ceremony. Those who've made a clear choice, gravitated towards one path or the other, they're ready to move on to the next level, the density that vibes with their choice. Those who haven't made a choice yet, they might need a little more time to figure things out, Maybe repeat the third density course.
It's like they need a little extra credit. But let's get specific. The Law of One gives us some concrete examples of archetypes, right? Like the magician and wisdom. Can you tell us more about those?
Sure. Each archetype, it embodies a specific aspect of the one infinite creator. It's like they're little pieces of the big puzzle.
Right.
The magician represents consciousness, the power to create, and wisdom, well, it symbolizes the ability to judge, to discern. These aren't just ideas, They're active forces shaping our thoughts and actions, even when we're not aware of them.
It's like they're always there in the background.
Exactly, whispering in our ear, guiding us along the way.
So we've talked about how the archetypal mind plays out in this third density of ours.
Yeah.
But what happens as we move into higher densities? Does it change? Does it evolve?
Oh, it definitely evolves. Take the sixth density, for example, the veil of forgetting. Gone. We experience those archetypes directly. No more studying symbols. We become the symbol.
Whoa, wait, hold on. Instead of reading about courage, you become courage. That's intense.
It is. It's a total shift in consciousness. The lessons become real, visceral. You live them, breathe them.
Okay, my mind is officially blown. But that begs the question, what if this archetypal mind thing isn't limited to our logos?
You're thinking big. I like it. You're
Yeah.
wondering if other creations might have their own versions of the archetypal mind.
Yeah, exactly. Could that even be possible?
Remember, each logos is its own unique song, right? A unique expression of the creator. So the archetypal mind in another logos, it might be totally different, reflecting the unique flavor of that creation.
Okay, now my brain is really starting to hurt. In a good way, though. I think we need a moment to process all of this.
It really makes you think, doesn't it? All those other creations out there, maybe with completely different archetypes.
I know. It's mind-boggling. But let's get back to those higher densities for a sec. You said sixth density is where the veil lifts.
Yeah.
So what's it actually like to experience those archetypes directly?
It's like understanding becomes being. Instead of reading about courage, you become courage. It's like a total shift from head knowledge to gut knowing.
So it's not just about understanding courage as a concept. It's about becoming courage itself. That's deep.
Yeah, it is. It's a profound level of learning.
What about those archetypes that represent, like, tough experiences, like the Tower card in Tarot, for example?
Hmm.
Does that become a real-life experience in sixth density?
It's an interesting question. It seems like those archetypes that usually mean upheaval or change, they become less about what's happening outside of you and more about transformation within. It's like the universe becomes your personal teacher, guiding you through those intense experiences.
Okay, that's a little intense. But it makes sense, I guess, when you're talking about a realm so beyond our current understanding. It's easy to get lost in all these big ideas about higher densities and forget that, we're still here in third density trying to figure things out. But I think the coolest thing about this whole archetypal mind thing is that it gives us a different way of looking at our lives right now in this moment.
Absolutely. It's not just some abstract, far out concept. Understanding the archetypal mind can actually help us understand those patterns we keep repeating, the challenges we keep bumping into, even the choices we make.
It's like seeing the code behind the scenes of our lives.
Exact.
So we can start to understand why we're attracted to certain people or why we might make the same mistake over and over.
Right. And the exciting thing is, once we're aware of those patterns, we can actually change them. We're not just, puppets of fate.
We have choices.
Yeah, we have free will, and we can choose how we interact with these archetypes. We can choose to embody their positive aspects, learn from their challenges, use them as a guide.
So it's about taking responsibility, right? Not just blaming outside forces for our problems. But what about this whole idea of polarity? Service to self versus service to others. Does that mean some archetypes are good and others are bad?
It's not really about good versus bad. All archetypes are expressions of the one infinite creator. It's about how we use their energy. The magician, for example, you could use that archetype to heal or inspire, or you could use it to manipulate and control. It really comes down to our intentions, our choices.
Like a tool then, right?
Mhm.
Any powerful tool. It could be used for good or for bad.
Yeah.
But how do we know if we're using these archetypal energies in a way that's, aligned with positive polarity?
Ask yourself, am I using this energy to serve myself or to serve others? Am I coming from a place of love or a place of fear? Those are good questions to ask yourself to see if your actions are aligned with service to others or service to self.
It's helpful. It reminds me of that saying, what you put out into the world comes back to you.
Yeah.
If we're always acting from fear or selfishness, well, we'll probably just attract more of that.
That's the law of attraction, basically. We attract what we're resonating with. And this whole polarity thing, it ties directly into our evolution through the densities. The more we choose love, the closer we get to, unity consciousness, the goal of sixth density.
I'm starting to see how it all connects.
Oh.
But I got to be honest, this is a lot to process. It can be kind of overwhelming, Cosmic evolution, densities, a universal mind.
It's true. It can be tough to wrap our heads around all this. But remember, it's a journey, not a destination. You don't have to get it all at once. Just be open, be willing to be challenged, and trust your intuition. The answers will come when they're ready.
You're right. You're right. It's easy to try and intellectualize everything, but sometimes we just need to trust that inner knowing. Speaking of which, the Law of One mentions this thing about Ra encountering the archetypal mind of another logos. Can you tell us more about that?
Oh, that's one of the more mysterious passages in the Law of One. Ra describes it as an experience beyond human comprehension, almost like trying to understand a language with no dictionary. Remember, each logos is unique, with its own rules, its own archetypes. So experiencing the archetypal mind of another logos would be like, well, stepping into a completely different reality.
Wow. That's even more mind-bending than what we've already been talking about. Makes you wonder just how diverse creation really is and what incredible possibilities are out there. But let's bring it back down to earth for a minute. You mentioned that the pyramids were built using the forces of one. That always intrigued me. How does that concept connect to the archetypal mind?
It's a really fascinating aspect of the Law of One. The text suggests that the pyramids were built not just through physical labor, but through a deep understanding of consciousness. The stones were considered alive, imbued with energy that could be manipulated using focused intention.
So they were like using their minds to build the pyramids. That's incredible. But why go through all that trouble? What was the purpose?
The pyramids served two purposes, actually. They were healing centers, places where energy was amplified and channeled to, promote health and longevity. And they were also designed as repositories of knowledge, encoding wisdom from higher realms into their very structure.
It's like they were ancient healing centers and libraries combined. I always felt this like awe and mystery when I see pictures of the pyramids. It's like they hold a secret knowledge we've lost.
There's definitely a powerful energy coming from those structures, even today. A lot of people say they feel a profound sense of peace and connection when they visit.
Yeah. It reminds us that the past isn't really gone. It's still woven into the fabric of reality.
It is.
Okay, this has been so insightful, but I gotta say, I'm a little overwhelmed. There's so much to unpack, so much to learn. It's almost daunting.
It's understandable to feel overwhelmed. These are big ideas. But remember, it's about the journey. Be patient with yourself and trust your intuition. The answers will reveal themselves when it's time.
I appreciate that. It's easy to get caught up wanting to know everything right now, but sometimes those aha moments come when we least expect them.
Right. And even a small shift in perspective can make a huge difference in our lives. It's not about becoming an expert overnight. It's about being open, being willing to question, and respecting the mystery.
I like that. Embrace the mystery. Okay, before we completely lose ourselves in the cosmos, let's talk about how we can actually apply this understanding of the archetypal mind to our lives,
Yeah.
day to day.
Yeah, that's the key, isn't it? Bridging the gap between the big concepts and everyday life, it starts with awareness. Notice those recurring patterns in your life, the challenges that keep popping up, the choices you make, and ask yourself, what archetypes might be at play here? What are they trying to teach me?
So if I keep finding myself attracted to partners who are emotionally unavailable, that might be a sign I need to look at the archetype of the wounded healer within myself.
Exactly. Or if you're always taking on too much responsibility and feeling burned out, maybe you need to work with the archetype of the martyr.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like becoming a detective in your own life, seeing those archetypal patterns and understanding how they're shaping your thoughts, feelings, and actions.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to start paying more attention to these archetypes in my own life.
Yep.
But what about those times when we feel stuck? Like repeating the same pattern over and over and can't break free? How can we use this understanding of the archetypal mind to actually create change?
That's where the power of a choice comes in. Once you see that negative pattern, you can choose a different path. It's about recognizing when you're acting out an archetype unconsciously and then making a conscious choice to shift your behavior.
So instead of reacting from fear or insecurity, I can take a moment and choose to respond from love and strength.
Exactly. It's like taking control of the story. You become the author. And remember, you don't have to do it alone. You can call upon the archetypes for guidance and support. Meditate on their qualities. Visualize yourself embodying their positive aspects. Ask for their help.
It's like having a team of cosmic helpers on our side. But, all this talk about archetypes and higher densities, it can make it seem like we're aiming for something way off in the future. Like we need to achieve enlightenment before we can experience real joy.
That's a common misconception. Joy and fulfillment aren't reserved for some future state of enlightenment. They're available right now,
Right.
in this moment.
So it's not about rejecting or escaping our current reality. It's about finding the beauty and the lessons in it, even when things are tough.
Exactly. And that's where the archetypal mind can be so helpful. It helps us see the bigger picture, the purpose behind our experiences, and to find meaning, even in suffering.
Okay, I like that. It's comforting. It's like even though life can be messy and unpredictable, there's a deeper order at play,
Yeah.
guiding us. And speaking of cosmic guidance, the Law of One mentions this Council of Saturn, overseeing the evolution of consciousness in our solar system. What is that? And what do they do?
That's a really fascinating part of the Law of One. The Council of Saturn is described as like a group of highly evolved beings acting as guides, making sure the cosmic plan unfolds according to the law of one.
So they're like the cosmic board of directors, keeping everything running smoothly. But what are they like? Do they look like us? Do they talk?
Those are good questions. Questions that the law of one doesn't really answer directly. Their nature, their form, it's a mystery. What's important is their role. They're here to guide and support us to make sure we stay on track and make choices that are for our highest good.
That's reassuring to know. Like
Yeah.
there's this benevolent force watching over us, rooting for us. But let's say I'm going through a rough patch, feeling lost. How can I tap into the wisdom of this council, or any higher being for that matter?
The key is to ask. Ask for guidance. Reach out to those forces of love and light, those wise beings who are always ready to help. It's about trust and surrender, knowing that we're not alone.
So we have to be open to receiving that guidance.
Exactly. And the more open you are, the more guidance you'll receive. It's like tuning in to the right frequency.
Ooh, I like that. It's like we're cosmic radios.
Yeah.
We can choose which station we tune into, the station of fear and doubt, or the station of love and wisdom.
Exactly. And the more you practice tuning into that higher frequency, the easier it becomes.
Okay, I think we need to take a break here. My mind is about to explode. We've covered so much.
It's amazing how much depth there is to the archetypal mind. Remember, it's not about memorizing facts, but about letting these ideas awaken something within you.
I'm definitely feeling that awakening. I can't wait to dive even deeper and see what else we discover. All right, we're back. And my mind is still spinning from that last conversation about the Council of Saturn and the archetypal mind.
Yeah.
It's wild to think about these, like, higher beings guiding our evolution, even if we don't even realize it.
Yeah. It really does put things in perspective, doesn't it? We're part of something so much bigger.
It's so much bigger.
Yeah.
And speaking of connections, I've always been curious about how the archetypal mind relates to chakras, those energy centers we have. Are they connected?
That's a great question. Think of the chakras as like these focal points for the archetypal energies. Each chakra kind of vibrates with specific archetypes and their qualities.
Okay, so give me an example.
Okay. The heart chakra.
Okay.
It's all about love and compassion, right? So it's often linked to archetypes like the mother, the healer, the lover, that kind of thing.
So understanding the archetypal mind could actually help us understand our own energy system better. I like that.
Yeah.
It's like we're not just physical bodies walking around. We're also these complex energy beings with, like, swirling vortexes of energy inside us.
Exactly. And the chakras, they're not just physical, they're like energetic and spiritual gateways connecting us to the subtle realms. So by working with our chakras through meditation, yoga, energy healing, we can actually clear those blockages, boost the energy flow, and become more aligned with the archetypal qualities we want to embody.
Like the archetypal mind gives us the blueprint, and then the chakras are like the paths those archetypal energies flow through into our world.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. But we've talked a lot about the good stuff, the positive side.
Right.
What about the shadow side of the archetypal mind? Can someone deliberately embody the negative aspects of an archetype?
That's kind of scary to think about.
Unfortunately, yeah. Remember, any tool can be used in different ways. Just like there are people who want to help others, there are those who choose to serve themselves,
Right.
often at the expense of others. And they might, consciously tap into that shadow side, that darker energy, and use it for selfish reasons.
So someone could, like, intentionally try to embody the tyrant archetype and use their power to control people.
Exactly. And that's why it's so important to be able to tell the difference, to see those distorted expressions of the archetypes and instead choose to align ourselves with the good stuff, like love, compassion, and service.
Okay, that makes sense.
Hmm.
But if someone's really trying to use that shadow energy, how can we protect ourselves? Like, do we need to build some kind of psychic shield?
The best way to protect yourself is to strengthen your own positive energy. The more you're aligned with love and compassion, the less you're affected by negativity.
It's like radiating light.
Yes, exactly. It repels the darkness. It's not about hiding or building walls. It's about raising your own vibration.
So we focus on our own inner light
Hmm.
instead of worrying about all the negative energy out there.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes me feel a little better. But, it's still a bit unsettling that some people might actually choose to use those powerful archetypal energies in a harmful way.
It's good to be aware of that, yeah. But don't let it fill you with fear. Those who choose that path, they ultimately create their own suffering. It's a dead end. True power comes from choosing love, from using these archetypes to You make the world a better, more beautiful place.
Okay, that helps. But I gotta ask, what's the point of all this? Why are we here, in this reality, dealing with archetypes, making these choices? Is there some ultimate goal?
That's the big question, isn't it? The Law of One says the goal is to know the Creator, to remember who we truly are as expressions of the one infinite Creator.
So it's like we're on this giant cosmic treasure hunt, searching for our true selves.
I like that. Yeah, it's like that. And the archetypes are the clues guiding us along the way.
Yeah, they show us different parts of ourselves, the good and the bad.
Right. They help us see that we're not just separate beings, we're all connected, part of something much bigger. And the more we realize that, the closer we get to knowing the Creator.
This has been eye-opening, truly. But I have to admit, it's also been a little overwhelming. There's just so much to learn. It's like we've opened this door to a whole universe of knowledge.
And that's the beauty of it, isn't it? It never really ends. There's always more to discover. But remember, take it one step at a time. Be patient. Trust your intuition, and the answers will come.
I love that. Trust your intuition. It's so simple and so powerful.
It is.
And it reminds us that we don't have to rely only on information from outside ourselves. We all have that inner wisdom.
And that wisdom is connected to the archetypal mind, that universal source of knowledge that's always there for us.
Always there. So as you're going about your day, pay attention to those gut feelings, those flashes of insight, those moments where things just click.
Yeah.
Those are all messages from the archetypal mind, helping you remember who you are. Wow. Well, I think we've explored a lot in this deep dive into the archetypal mind. From the veil of forgetting to the Council of Saturn, from chakras to the shadow side. It's been quite the journey. I know we'll be thinking about this for a while, and I hope you will too. Dive into the Law of One, learn about archetypes, and most importantly, trust your intuition.
It's been a great conversation, and I hope it sparks some curiosity for our listeners. Remember, self-discovery is a lifelong adventure. Embrace the mystery, trust the journey, and let the wisdom of the archetypal mind be your guide.
And keep seeking, keep questioning, keep diving deep. Until next time, fellow explorers.